Hello. Hello again. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning. Whenever you happen to see this video, I'm going to be repeating it. So, anyway, here we go. Good morning, good evening. Whenever you happen to see this video, the importance of animals in our lives. I just remembered another about a fish tank. Gosh, I'm going to start with that. Had no idea I was going to start with that. I was at somebody's house here in Costa Rica, and I don't know if they still have a fish tank, but they had a fish tank. And the grandmother was carrying her granddaughter, and the baby pointed to me, the fish tank, and it's like I understood, and I asked the grandmother of the baby, who died drowning, who drowned, and she said, one of my older's brother on the part of her father. So it was interesting because that information wouldn't have come out if the baby hadn't pointed to me the fish tank. So that's something that I just remembered. That was back in 2007. Dogs. My experience with dogs and family constellations. At that point, I didn't call my work Phenomenological family constellations. I just called it family constellations with Gloria. 2004, Mexico City. We were at Claudia's mother's house, Claudia Martinez Parente, and her dog, Lola, started barking. We were inside the house, and there was this young woman outside with the dogs, and I think it was a baby. She was sort of like taking care of the baby. And she walked in a little bit agitated, and she said, "Gloria, the dog is barking tremendously. Who died?" And at that point, I asked the person who was having her constellation movement done, and I said, "Who died?" And she said, "My father, 3 months ago." And we did the movement for saying so long goodbye to her father. But what's important here is that the animals gave me the clue that something was missing or something had to be worked on. Again, that was in 2004. In 2005, I worked with Squirt, and the wind is blowing. I worked with Squirt, with Annie and Toby, and a dog. I don't know the brand of the dog or the pedigree of the dog, but Squirt was. We were in the line of ancestors, and I had the mother and the father and the grandparents and the great grandparents, and Squirt just sat there in the line, and I asked the woman, who are we missing? Who's not in this line that should be here, taken into consideration? And she said, "Oh, a grand aunt. She was put in a mental home, and we never saw her again." So the fact that Squirt stood in the line in that particular place, he gave me the clue. And that was in Southern California. In Peru, 2007. We'll continue with another video, next video. Thank you very much. Abruptly interrupted because of the time limit. But let's see if... Okay, I can erase this one. And
I'll continue. It's all on animals.
Family constellations with cats.
Oh, with cats. I was thinking of the other one first. Keep continuing with
Good
dogs.
morning, good evening, whenever you happen to see this video. More on phenomenological family constellations assisted thanks to animals. In this case, I just want to remember 3 dogs and their names, Sissy, Blue, and Sammy. They belong to Wagner and Johnny in Villa Bonita here in Costa Rica. And in the memory of Sissy, I'm mentioning her. Great help with these little dogs. I can't think of the brand or the breed. And they always help me when people are missing or when some people are already dead and they're not taken into consideration. So it's very important information for me. Back in 2010, 2011, in Tuxtepec, Oaxaca, Mexico, I was in this private session with this couple, and all of a sudden I hear a mosquito going bzzz, and I thought, okay, somebody's involved with the airplanes, with flying aviation, and I asked the young man. He said, no, nobody flies an airplane. Nobody travels that way. And all of a sudden, I felt the mosquito biting me on my leg, on my foot, one of my feet. And I asked him, bitten by something? Somebody was bitten by something? I just said, bitten by something. And he said, well, my great-grandfather, he was an enchanter of snakes, of serpents. They would call him so that he would call the snakes and put them inside a bag so that the cattle would not run over the snakes and kill them. And he was bitten by the snakes, and he created an antidote against the poison of the snakes. And the message for him was to go back to his roots, to go back to his knowing about the land and working with the land and the animals. And more information on another video. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, because I'm being able to record. Let's see, this one.
Constellations así.
This is in Spanish, and we're taking care of the English ones. And let me see.
Good morning, good evening. Whenever you happen to see this video, continuing with the work with assisted with animals in my work, I would like to mention, in this case, in Peru, 2007, Calato was the dog's name. I don't know if the dog is still alive, but it was interesting that the man was lying down, a young man. I don't remember why. But then the dog, small dog, Calato, got on top of his back and started doing the movements as having intercourse. What happened was that this young man had been abused in a very not so kindly way, abrupt way, and the dog gave me that information, and we did the movement, taking care of that. And here in Costa Rica, Lucky is his name. He would come close to people, and before talking about Loki, I gotta tell you that in Peru also there was this parrot. His name was Aurora Alberto, and another young man. We were in the room, and he went out, and the parrot goes, "Papa, Dad," and he comes back pale and saying, "Gloria, when I was 15 years old and my girlfriend was 16, we practiced an abortion. I like to deal with that." So the fact that the parrot said, "Papa," that gave the information that he needed to work on that issue of aborting a child. And going back to Loki, he would give me the information as to when people wanted to die, or when there was a miscarriage or an abortion that needed to be taken into consideration. They give me information, important information, as to who was excluded or what something that happened. So more information on the next video. Thank you very much.
Well, interesting how the information is there. We just need to be aware that it's there. And I think it was yesterday or a day before yesterday that my cat, Turma, kept coming to me. And that's when I realized, hey, I need to talk about the importance of animals in my constellation work. I'm just remembering that in another country, they couldn't sell a piece of land, and I felt that it had been a burial site for indigenous people, natives. And it was fascinating because we lit some candles and in memory of those people that had been buried in that piece of land. And a whole bunch of, oh my God, how do you say it in English? In Spanish, it's buitres or sopilotes. The birds that eat animals that are dead. And let me see, I'm looking for the word vulture. Vulture. A lot of vultures started circling, but a lot. And I'm having a physical reaction or response, actually. I don't know, 10 or 20 vultures were flying around on top of us. Oof. Wow. Sacred places that we have gone into in the name of progression or progress, not progression, progress. Oh dear. Oh dear. Well, at a different time, different place, we were going up the mountain. I was riding a horse because I wasn't fit enough to walk. And at a certain point, the horse stopped and turned, and I just said to him, "What are you telling me that I'm not understanding?" And we continued. We came back, and when we were back, I asked the owner of the horse. I asked the woman. Uh, the horse stopped at a particular place. What's there? And she said, "Oh, it was a native's burial place." So animals know. Oh, they know. They know many things. Well, thank you very much. I had no idea I was going to be remembering these movements with the vultures and with the horse. Thank you. Thank you very much for listening. Or even if you don't listen, it's coming out. Thank you. Thank you.